In the last video, I talked about how Markup was changing its free plan and its pricing beyond what I am willing to pay for the tool. And in this video, I want to talk about the 3 options that I have been testing and just my very quick opinion of how those are going. But before I dive into all of that, if we haven't met before, my name is Caitlin. I run Launch the Damn Thing. I'm a Squarespace designer and educator, and I've been doing graphic design work for like literally 20 years almost. I have a few thoughts on just the usability of stuff like this. Let's dive into the software. So if you haven't watched the last video where I talked about all the different options, make sure you go back to check that out first, because this one will make a lot more sense. If that's the baseline, you've already watched that video and you're like, I just want to know what Caitlin's doing. That's fair, but also please make your own decision, because I am not the same as all of you and we all like different things. These are just options with possibilities, right, to choose from. The first one that I looked at was Pastel. It definitely has, so opinion, it definitely has the best free plan of the ones that I found. It has 1 user only, so it works best for solopreneurs. It has unlimited free canvases, meaning you can have unlimited files, projects, assets, create whatever in your Pastel account. That also means that you don't have a limit on how many clients you can send these to at any given moment. You're not limited to active feedbacks from various clients, which is nice because Markup for a long time has been dwindling that number. It used to be unlimited and then it was going down to, 10 and then 5 and then 3 and then 1 and now none at all. Pastel still has that unlimited option, which is really nice. It also has an unlimited guest reviewer. So if you do happen to be working with a committee of clients, you can send it to multiple people. So that's, I don't suggest you do that. It makes it harder on life in general, but you could. And then it also has unlimited versions for the canvas itself. I don't know how that works with websites exactly. I haven't been testing it long enough to really see how to use that function, but for files, I imagine that would work really nicely. For example, the first draft for something, and then the first revision, then the second revision, etc., so they can go back and see the differences. Maybe that's helpful. I don't know. The one downside to Pastel is that it has a 3-day or 72-hour commenting window on its assets or its canvases, which basically means once you've created it, you basically are limited. Like, it's going to automatically close the comments within a 72-hour period without you having any say. That's both a good and a bad thing, potentially. Bad in that if you need a little bit more time, you'll have to send another canvas, but good in that it creates a hard boundary. Like, you can send it on a Monday and it'll close on a Wednesday without you having to do a damn thing. And that means that the client has a hard deadline, whether you're awake or at your desk or not. So I kind of like that. If you need a longer period of time than that, maybe it's 1 canvas per revision round and each revision round gets 3 days because you have unlimited canvases you can send. That's how I feel about Pastel. Now, actually using Pastel is a different thing. I'll show you that in a second. But we're going to move on to the next option because right now we're just discussing details. RUTTL is the next option. It has a decent free plan. It's kind of in the middle. RUTTL is the same thing as Pastel essentially, except that you get up to 5 users. So you have more users that can use it at the same time. So if you have an assistant or a contractor, maybe this would be a better option, but you only get 1 active project at a time, meaning you can only send 1 website for feedback and you have to close that one before you can send another one. So, And then also it says 5 pages. I don't have any idea what that means. I don't know if that means 5 website pages you can leave feedback on and then like you can't leave comments on any other pages. You're going to have to test that for yourself. I haven't been able to test it enough to know the difference there either. Unlimited guests is a good thing. You can send it to as many clients as you want, and there's no time limit. It does also allow you to work with all projects, and that's about all I know about RUTTL's free plan. The one thing I did discover is that it has this weird edit mode, and I thought that could be a little bit cumbersome to deal with. And I found some limitations there too. So if you start a project, you have to choose which type of project, one that's editable and one that's not. And you can't switch after you've done it. And since you can only have 1 project active at a time, see where I'm going with this? I'll show you what I mean when we get over to the actual user interface of RUTTL in just a minute. The third option I did not actually talk about in the last video because I didn't know it existed. When I sent this out to my email list, I had a few people reply and say, have you heard about workflow? And I said, no, but I checked it out and it's absolutely stunning. Downside, there's no free plan that includes getting feedback on website. You can only use the free plan of workflow if you only want to use their task management feature, which I don't want to do because I have task management software. Not helpful for me in particular. That said, when you're looking at their pricing, they're actually updating this. I sat down with the co-founder and talked to him, and he said they're going to change this terminology that says add creative work. What they actually mean by that is uploading files to get feedback, adding websites to get feedback. So even though you can share and leave feedback on the free plan, it does not include the thing that they would be getting feedback on. I think what they mean by that is task comments and stuff like that. Like you can still collaborate with people, I guess, but in order to get collaboration done on assets, files, websites, whatever, you need to be on a paid plan. The upside is their paid plan is actually pretty affordable. So if $16 a month is doable for you, as opposed to Markup's only price plan at $79 a month, this is a much better option. And their user interface is just as beautiful as their website. So it's very clean and minimal. It allows you to focus on the design thing that you created versus the software itself, which is kind of nice. So that's the breakdown of the 3 that I decided to try. Now let's dive into what the software actually looks like. So this is the inside of my Pastel account, and you can see I already have a website in here, but let's go ahead and create one so you can see how this works. So you go up to create a canvas and then click on website. I have my website copied in the clipboard, so I'm going to hit done or whatever that arrow is. And in just a second, there we go. Had to do refresh on that one. So in just a second, it'll have a website canvas for me to leave feedback on. When you share this canvas with a client, you click on share and then copy the link. And let's go ahead and look at that too. When your client looks at a paste canvas with you, they do see this little pop-up here. Click anywhere to start leaving feedback. If you need help getting started, click here. And if that button is clicked, there is an automatic video that pops up and shows them how to use the platform, which I think is very cool because that means we don't have to do that part ourselves, which is nice. And it's a very short video, so that's good. From their perspective, they have this bottom bar down here. I actually prefer it being at the top because it kind of looks like it's not there at the bottom. It's out of sight, out of mind. But they can toggle back and forth between browse and comment, just like with Markup. It is on comment first by default. I mean, that's helpful because that's what they're here to do. But they will have to know that is down there in the middle if they need to click around first before they start leaving comments. There is also only desktop and mobile view available, which is fine for Squarespace users, but if you're using some other web builder, you might want more options and there aren't any others. Then to see the comments, they have to click that button and then they can see them in the list. It does automatically group them by page, which is nice. And then apparently there's statuses, but I honestly haven't tested it long enough to see whether that's valuable and for my purposes. Down here, they can click finish review, and I guess that tells us whether or not they're done with the feedback that they were giving. Back in our view, it looks like we don't really have that many more options, but we do have this new version button, so we can rename it and we can create a new version, and I guess this might be a different canvas. Actually, let's test that theory. If we do new version v2 and then create a new version, maybe, since I didn't actually change anything, I don't know what this actually does with websites, but that could be useful. Let's give it the benefit of the doubt here. So far, Pastel is actually my favorite option because their free plan is the most usable and it's the most simple, and it hasn't been very buggy. I've not noticed any bugs using it so far, besides sometimes needing a refresh when I create a canvas. With Ruttle, I have noticed a few bugs, which were quite confusing. A couple of times when I've gone to add a new project, so we'll do that. Let's go to project and then add a website. We'll give it a name. Demo, we'll do my website. And then this is what I was talking about earlier when I said you have to choose between comments or edits. And that actually includes inspect mode, which is nice. I mean, but for clients, why would they need that? So comments only, let's create that project. Now it is validating the URL. This is one of the bugs I experienced. It got stuck in this screen for literally half an hour or something. My internet was still working, but it never changed the screen. I was like, finally, okay, I guess I'm gonna have to, oh, there we go, another bug. Not a great look, Ruttl. Let's do a refresh and see if it can find it. No? Still can't find it? Let's go back to my Ruttl account. And it looks like it did actually create it. So maybe if I click on it. Yeah, so it did actually create it. But again, this is another bug with creating the canvas. Not a great look. This is, let's see, go back to our dashboard. This is the device picker, and this is the thing I was so excited about, but all of them are blocked off on paid plans. So the only one you can, like not even phones, the only one you can use on a free plan is the desktop version, which is not cool, not cool. However, their pricing is probably the most affordable of the three that I'm talking about in this video. It's the cheapest, I think roughly $8 a month, $4 or $8 a month. Workflow is going to be $16 a month. Pastel, I think, is like $30-ish a month. So you got options, but I just don't like that. Like, give me the mobile. At least desktop and mobile are the only two that really matter. The rest are just nice. Okay. All right. No, Willow. Mommy's recording right now. Go away. Thank you, ma'am. Okay. So for sharing, basic options, same as everything else. Browse versus comment. Again, the bar is at the bottom. I don't love that. Then if we go into private mode, this is comments that only we see, our clients don't see, and that's kind of nice. You can make notes or whatever. But yeah, I don't know if I would actually use that, but it's a nice to have, right? You can see the list of comments over here. So let's just add one really quick. Oh, do we have another bug? Do we have another bug? We have another bug. Interesting. This was actually a complaint that I saw from several people that Ruttl was an interesting idea, but it was too buggy. And I have noticed that already, just in my very basic testing. Like, I'm clicking all over this thing right now and it's not doing a damn thing. So my opinion, I don't want to fool with something that doesn't actually work. So let's just stop this test and move on to workflow. Okay, in workflow, you can see this is task management based. It's got a board view and that's like already set up for task management. When I talked to the co-founder, I told him I already have a task manager. I don't need that. I just need website feedback. That's it. And he did say you don't have to use the task management features, but you do have to pay for it in order to get feedback on assets, which is unfortunate because you're not uploading anything. But you know, that's just my opinion. Let's do a project. We'll name it LTDT demo because things. Project description, continue, add people to a project. No, I'll do that later. Continue. Okay, now we have a new one and let's do add a task. That's a little confusing because if I'm not adding an actual task in my mind, I'm adding a website for feedback, then I would like task to say something else. But that's okay. We'll do website revisions 1. It's round 1. And then here for creative asset, that looks like a file uploader, but it's not. So if you click that, then you have access to the website and we can paste in the website and click add. The one thing I will say about workflow is that not only is it beautiful and simple and minimal, it works. It just works. And as we saw with Ruttl, that is kind of a big deal. So here you have the option to copy the link. You can archive your asset. If you click archive, you can also delete it. They do have a storage limit. It's 100 gigabytes maybe for assets in your general account, and you can delete them yourself. You don't have to ask permission to delete projects or assets. That's nice to know. That was one of the questions that one of you had when I introduced the idea in the blog post. Okay, so in workflow, once you've opened a creative asset, you have the details panel of the task, which is kind of nice actually, because you can assign a due date or whatever to this thing. And then you also have the comments. So from here, you also have the filters for hiding, resolved, and whatever you need to have there. And you can also collapse this. You have versioning at the top. Again, I haven't tested that part of it yet. But the comments are very simple. You can add attachments, some basic formatting. That makes sense. Okay, so let's switch this over to comment mode and leave some comments. change text in hero header. And then we're gonna do change the button. Oh, okay. That's unexpected. If I click on that, it actually does open the button. I wonder if it does that here too. No, it doesn't. Interesting. Okay, that seems like a bug we probably ought to tell them about so they can fix. Let's do change to favorite stuff. Now I wonder if they click on that. It looks like it doesn't do what markup did and like take a screenshot of whatever they're looking at when they leave the comment, which means if they're leaving feedback on something that's hidden, for example, on that drop down that I just clicked on, you can only actually see that when the thing is activated, and how would we know to do that? So that's not good, actually. Let's go back to the Pastel canvas and see if it does the same thing. Under Learn From Me, let's click on change to see my favorites, and Command Enter leaves the comment. So let's look at comments, and comment left on home page. I don't see that it does that either. That's not great. That's something that I'm really gonna miss about markup, because it actually takes screenshots of the thing. Looks like if we're using either Pastel or Workflow, oh, I lied. Okay, what does this look like? Nope, still doesn't do it. It does take a screenshot, but not of the hidden thing. It's like halfway there. That's almost. Maybe we should tell them that this is kind of a thing that websites need to have. That's better. At least it does take a screenshot. Workflow doesn't, so we have no way of knowing what I'm talking about here, except that we can probably guess, just because change to favorite stuff. Change what to favorite stuff? Oh, they're probably talking about this. Okay, so that's a kind of a weird quirk. So from here, we can resolve the comment, we can react to it, we can reply to it, and we can copy a link directly to it, and of course we can delete it. Let's resolve this one and this one. And now it shows the activity. That's kind of nice. Let's do, oh, hide comment bubbles. That's interesting. That's good. Hide resolved comments. Uncheck. Okay. I mean, this is very basic, but I kind of like that it's basic. But again, I do actually need it to show me the hidden things, because it's a website and that's how websites work. That's a basic test. I mean, literally, that's all I need these things to do, right? To load in a website. Let's do another comment, actually, before I keep going with that thought. Let's do a different page. Let's go to the blog page. And then we'll switch back to comment mode. And we'll say make font weight bolder. Okay, yes, that's correct. You can see that it's grouping comments by page, which is very lovely. Let's go back to Workflow and see if it does that too. Okay, this is confusing because their bar is at the top and Pastel's is at the bottom. Now let's switch back to comment mode. I do feel like maybe Workflow's UI is a little bit slower. You could see how fast it loaded Pastel, and Workflow is still trying to load my blog. If Pastel could do it quickly, oh yeah, page is unresponsive. If Pastel can do it quickly, Workflow should be able to do it quickly too. Let's hop back over to Pastel for the time being. It looks like Pastel groups all the comments per page, which is really nice. And you can set each comment to have its own status, which is also really nice. That way your client can see at a glance, based on color alone, that I'm working on this one currently, and I really like that. What happens if I reply? Adding reply now. Okay, there's no send button on that, but I just did Command Enter and it's sent. So that's a little bit of a UI quirk, but still. Okay, that's fine, I guess. Okay, it does say one reply here, so that's nice. Let's check back on Workflow. And we're back. Okay, so let's scroll down and do the same comment here. Change font weight to, I don't know, 600? Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so we have a comment here, and I guess because I resolved them, let's unresolve it. Okay. It doesn't look like they're grouped by page that I can tell. That's not great either. Let's go to a different page. Let's do my about page. How long will we have to wait on this one? It's already too long. And I've got fast internet, y'all. This is not a really great experience quite yet. Workflow is very, very new, so let's give them a little bit of patience. Let's come back to them in a few months to a year, and hopefully these things will be worked out by then. It's very, very new.
Welcome. All our lines are currently busy. We will be with you shortly.
Let's check back on workflow. Okay, we're there. Let's do one more try. Comment. Remove this text. Yeah, it's definitely not grouping them by page, and I do not love that. That makes it unusable for me. That's a deal breaker. It may not be for you, and if it's pretty enough and you can get past that, then go for it. But for me, that means I'm going to be using Pastel. So it seems like our answer is very glaringly, we're using Pastel for the time being. RUTTL was too buggy, workflow is too slow, and it doesn't group comments by page. And in practice, that just literally means you might go to your home page, make a change to this text, and then you're going over to the contact page and you're making a change to a button, and then you're going back to the home page to change, and that's just time wasting. If you don't have the ability to use this software to group all your comments by page and just go through all of the revision requests on that page and do them all at the same time, then go to the next page, do all of those, and go to the next, you're wasting time in context switching. It's just not a great thing to do. So that was a pretty easy test, right? That didn't exactly go the way that I expected it to, but at least we have an option. That's going to be the thing, right? We have an option until markup stops being crazy and I inevitably want to go back to them. It looks like Pastel is the best option for now. A couple of comments that I wanted to address really quickly from the last video. There were a couple of people that were like, can't we just use Google Docs? The answer is yes, of course you can. If that's working for you, then go for it. The thing that I didn't like about that was that I found my clients didn't know how to describe the thing that they wanted me to change or the location of the thing they wanted me to change. And so there was a lot of back and forth like, did you mean this paragraph on this page in this section? And they'd be like, oh no, I meant this page and that paragraph in that section. And I just got really tired of that back and forth. I do also know that one of my other design friends, she actually uses Loom for these, and that's also a viable solution if you already pay for Loom. Literally just present the website, go through every page, and tell them to pause the video and comment on it. The comments are timestamped in Loom videos, so that tells you exactly where they are when they left the comment. It's not a foolproof system because they're not literally pinning the comment to the thing, and sometimes they're not going to stop it fast enough, and maybe they forget to tell you or clarify that they're talking about the button that says the same thing but on a different page. But, you know, it's all up to us. We are the ones using these tools or not using these tools, and whatever works best for you. The reason I made these videos about markup and switching away from markup is simply for the fact that I loved using markup. It worked really, really well for me, and suddenly I can't use it anymore, and so what the f*** am I going to switch to? My solution for now will be Pastel, but you can bet that I'm going to keep my eye open for a pop-up that is going to take the place of markup. Didn't mean for that to rhyme. I'll keep my eye out for anything that is potentially better, of course. But in the meantime, I think Pastel will serve its purpose just fine, and I won't have to pay a subscription in order to use it. I hope that's been helpful for you. If you come back and you're like, actually, since you made this video, there's this 5 other new tools that are really great and you didn't talk about those, leave them in the comments. I'm always curious to know what's out there. And if you have questions about how I am going to use Pastel with clients, then stick around because I probably will do some videos on it once I get a little more used to it. All right, that's all I have for you in this video. I will see you in the next one. Bye.